To get a feel for the upcoming UFC lightweight title fight in Abu Dhabi, I went back and re-watched Dustin Poirier's career, sequentially. And in doing so, I realized two things. One, I'm actually a huge Dustin Poirier fan, and I never knew it. It's hard to notice in the moment because he's not a big money draw and he has a respectful, no-nonsense personality, but he's such a superb fighter. And not only that, his fights are incredibly entertaining. There's something for everyone. Technical striking, dirty boxing, phone booth brawling, back and forth ground fighting and grappling exchanges. He probably should have more fans than he does. The second thing I notice is probably more relevant. Dustin is, in my estimation, the best fighter Khabib Nurmagomedov will have ever faced. To be sure, I don't think Dustin will beat Khabib. In fact, I think the chances of that happening are quite slim. But then again, I don't think that anyone will beat the Eagle unless he, like others before him, overstays his welcome in the sport, which he's been clear about not wanting to do. So what makes Dustin so great compared to Khabib's previous opponents?
My hair is salon quality.
He has a good bottom game, but probably not as good as Rafael dos Anjos. He's a great volume puncher, but he doesn't have the hand speed of Michael Johnson. He has a strong kicking game, but not on the level of Edson Barbosa. And his boxing is really good, but he's not as clean and as accurate of a counterpuncher as Conor McGregor. Dustin is somewhat rare in that he's incredibly well-rounded. You can hardly point out a major weakness in his game. And yet, whether rightfully or not, he's not considered to be a master of any specific area of MMA. I actually think that he comes fairly close to mastery in some areas, but in any case, Dustin is undoubtedly greater than the sum of his parts. But what are those parts? Going back to his WEC days and even his early UFC days, Poirier was known as a wild striker. He would swing for the fences, often punching nothing but the night air. But he was relentless, and when he did connect, it was often to devastating effect. Since then, his boxing has become far more crisp and refined. But he still has that unrelenting pressure that often brings opponents to their knees. His dirty boxing is really top-notch, and he's so great at splitting his opponent's guard. And even after improving his striking considerably, he hasn't given up that willingness to scrap. A point striker he is not. Dustin Poirier is an honorary Mexican. He does not stop moving forward. He may get hit, he may get rocked, but his pressure is unrelenting. He has become one of the best, or perhaps the best, volume puncher in mixed martial arts. He even managed to out-volume Max Holloway. And unlike Holloway, in addition to volume, he has the power to put people to sleep. So, I usually don't put too much stock in a fighter's ability to fight off of his back. It's definitely a skill, and if you're good enough at it, you can certainly get far with the skill. You can win with a submission from the bottom or even ground and pound from the bottom on occasion, but how good is that working at someone who really knows how to be heavy? Someone who smothers you from the top and doesn't let you breathe. Top position is superior, and I didn't decide that, gravity did. So it comes to no one's surprise that Khabib is expected to dominate Dustin in any sequence on the ground. Having said that, something does stand out in Dustin's career. He's been in countless dangerous situations down there, and nearly got finished or submitted numerous times. And through some creative techniques and just sheer will, he got out of those situations and managed to end up winning the fight. Whenever it seems like there's no hope for him, he always seems to get out of a jam. And that applies to more than just his ground fighting. This sentence sums up his entire fighting career. Above everything else, Dustin Poirier is a winner. He competes to win. And you might be thinking, well yeah, duh, so does everyone else. But like everything else in MMA, there's levels to this crap. Some fighters, even at the highest level, will cower away when a fight isn't going their way. And that's not an indictment on their mental or spiritual fortitude either. If anything, it's just human nature. But there are some guys who are oblivious to human nature, and Dustin is one of those guys. He's never out of a fight, and whenever he looks done, he'll usually mount a comeback before the round is up. This isn't all about superhuman will. He also has some great situational awareness in every facet of fighting. But it takes a superhuman will to even be able to implement a winning tactic in these seemingly overwhelming moments. And Poirier has shown time and time again that he has it. On paper, this looks like a great fight. Poirier has been around forever and has beaten anyone you could imagine. However, as much as I like Poirier and respect his body of work, Khabib is a once-in-a-generation talent. He's just too good. In his current form, I don't see him losing to anyone, and that even includes Tony Ferguson. Nonetheless, because of the factors I've mentioned, I know Dustin is going to make it at least somewhat entertaining. There may even be a competitive round or two. Dustin seemingly never gets tired, and Khabib is known to take rounds off on occasion. I gotta go with Khabib as far as predictions are concerned, but you should definitely binge watch Poirier's fights on Fight Pass. You won't regret that decision.
This Saturday I wanna prove how Eagle is hungry, because when Eagle is hungry he eat everything.